Ladies and gentlemen, there's something profoundly intimate about the act of sharing, especially when it comes to sharing what lies deep within. For men in particular, this act often carries layers of meaning, vulnerability, and significance that are not immediately apparent. You see, men are taught from a young age to project strength, to shield their emotions, and to present a facade of invincibility. In many ways, society rewards this stoicism, painting it as a hallmark of masculinity. But here's the paradox: when a man chooses to share his inner world with you, his fears, his failures, his dreams, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a testament to how much he values you. Why? Because sharing requires trust. Trust that you'll hold his vulnerabilities gently. Trust that you won't dismiss his feelings as trivial or mock his fears as unfounded. Trust that you will not exploit what he reveals. When a man shares his struggles, he's saying, "I trust you enough to see me as I am." He's breaking free from the armor he's been taught to wear and allowing you to see the person behind it. And that act, my friends, is nothing short of courageous. Think about it. It's easy to present a polished version of yourself to the world. But to let someone see your scars, to let them hear the tremor in your voice when you talk about your insecurities, that's where real strength lies. And when a man does this, it's not just an exchange of words, it's an offering of himself. It's a way of saying, "You matter enough for me to let down my guard." But here's the crucial part: how you respond matters just as much as the sharing itself. If you dismiss his openness, you're not just rejecting his words, you're rejecting him. Conversely, if you honor his trust and meet his vulnerability with understanding, you create a bond that's unshakable. True intimacy, whether in friendships, family, or romantic relationships, thrives on this kind of mutual openness. And in those moments of shared vulnerability, you're not just connecting as two people, you're building something greater, a shared resilience. So when a man shares his inner world with you, know this: he's inviting you into a sacred space. It's not something he does lightly. It's his way of telling you that you're not just anyone, you're someone special. Human vulnerability is a profound and complex aspect of our existence. It reflects the parts of us that are raw, unguarded, and deeply personal. For many, especially men, embracing and expressing vulnerability can feel counterintuitive because society often equates vulnerability with weakness. From an early age, boys are taught to suppress their emotions, to remain stoic, and to project an image of unshakable strength. Crying, admitting fear, or even showing deep affection is sometimes met with ridicule or dismissal, reinforcing the idea that true masculinity lies in emotional detachment. Yet, in truth, vulnerability is not a sign of fragility, it's an act of immense courage. To expose your inner world to another person requires not just strength, but also a willingness to take risks. When you reveal your fears, insecurities, or failures, you are essentially handing someone the tools to hurt you. But in doing so, you are also creating the potential for connection, understanding, and mutual growth. For a man to embrace his vulnerability and share it with another person, it means he has crossed a significant threshold of trust. He is saying, "Here I am, unfiltered and unprotected, hoping that you will not only accept me, but cherish what I'm offering." This act is rare because it goes against the grain of cultural conditioning. It's not easy to let down one's guard in a world that often celebrates stoicism and punishes openness. Vulnerability is also a mirror of our humanity. It reminds us that we are not invincible, that we all carry fears and dreams, doubts and aspirations. When someone chooses to reveal their inner struggles, they're extending an invitation for connection, a chance for you to say, "I see you, I hear you, and I value what you've shared." This exchange has the power to deepen relationships and build a foundation of trust that is unshakable. Vulnerability is an act of generosity. It's a way of sharing not just our joys, but also our burdens, allowing others to see and understand the full spectrum of who we are. For a man to do this, it signifies not only his strength, but also the importance of the person he's sharing it with. It's a gift that deserves to be honored and reciprocated. Cultural conditioning plays a significant role in shaping how individuals, particularly men, understand and express themselves emotionally. From an early age, boys are often exposed to messages that define what it means to be a man. These messages, whether explicit or subtle, reinforce the idea that strength, resilience, and control are paramount, while vulnerability, emotional expression, and dependence on others are seen as weaknesses. This conditioning is not just a family or community dynamic, it is woven into the fabric of media portrayals, societal expectations, and historical narratives about masculinity. Consider the phrases many boys hear growing up: "Man up, boys, don't cry," or "Don't be so sensitive." These statements may seem harmless on the surface, but they carry profound implications. They teach boys to suppress their feelings, to prioritize stoicism over authenticity, and to equate emotional restraint with maturity. Over time, these lessons become internalized, creating a barrier between men and their ability to engage with their emotions fully. This conditioning extends into adulthood, where men are often expected to fulfill roles as providers, protectors, and problem solvers. While these roles can be fulfilling, they also come with an unspoken expectation to shoulder burdens silently and without complaint. Admitting to struggles, whether emotional, mental, or even physical, can feel like failing to live up to these societal ideals. As a result, many men hide their pain, choosing instead to present a facade of control and competence. The impact of this cultural conditioning is far-reaching. It not only limits men's ability to connect with their own emotions, but also hinders their relationships with others. Emotional expression is a key ingredient in building trust and intimacy, and when men are conditioned to withhold their feelings, it creates a barrier to meaningful connections. Furthermore, this suppression can lead to long-term consequences such as stress, loneliness, and even mental health challenges like depression and anxiety. Breaking free from this conditioning requires immense courage and self-awareness. It involves unlearning deeply ingrained beliefs and challenging societal norms that have been accepted for generations. When a man chooses to share his emotions, he is not just defying personal habits, he is pushing against an entire cultural narrative. This act of defiance is significant because it signifies growth, self-acceptance, and a desire for authentic relationships. Understanding cultural conditioning also highlights the importance of creating environments where emotional expression is encouraged and valued. When men feel safe to share their feelings without fear of judgment or ridicule, they are better able to connect with others and lead more balanced, fulfilling lives. Recognizing the weight of this conditioning allows us to appreciate the significance of vulnerability and to celebrate those who choose to break free from the constraints of societal expectations. Shared intimacy is one of the most profound ways humans connect with each other. It goes beyond mere physical closeness or surface-level conversations. It is about creating a bond that is deeply emotional, spiritual, and often unspoken. Intimacy is the act of revealing parts of oneself that are not visible to the outside world: thoughts, dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities. It is the courage to be seen for who we truly are and the willingness to see another person in the same light. For many people, and particularly for men, the act of sharing intimate aspects of their inner world requires an extraordinary level of trust. Society often discourages emotional openness, especially among men, by equating vulnerability with weakness. However, true intimacy cannot exist without vulnerability. It thrives on the mutual willingness to let down defenses and to share what lies beneath the surface. Shared intimacy is built in moments of genuine connection. It might be a conversation late at night where words flow freely, revealing hopes and fears that have been buried for years. It could be a moment of quiet understanding where no words are needed because both people feel the depth of the connection. These shared moments create a unique space where both individuals feel seen, valued, and understood. At the heart of shared intimacy is the concept of emotional safety. When someone feels safe, they are more likely to open up and reveal their true selves. This safety is built on trust, respect, and the assurance that their thoughts and feelings will not be dismissed or ridiculed. It requires active listening, empathy, and the willingness to hold space for the other person's experiences, even when those experiences are difficult to hear. Shared intimacy also requires reciprocity. It is not about one person constantly giving and the other only receiving. Instead, it is a dance of mutual vulnerability. where both individuals contribute to the deepening of the connection. When one person shares something deeply personal, and the other responds with openness and understanding, it creates a feedback loop of trust and closeness. The beauty of shared intimacy is that it deepens over time. Each moment of connection builds on the last, creating a bond that becomes more resilient and meaningful. This process is not always easy. It requires patience, effort, and the willingness to navigate moments of discomfort. However, the reward is a relationship that is rich, fulfilling, and deeply rooted in authenticity. Shared intimacy is about more than just feeling close to another person. It is about creating a shared emotional and spiritual space where both individuals can grow, heal, and thrive. It is the foundation of meaningful relationships and a testament to the power of human connection. The risk of rejection is an inherent part of human relationships, especially when it comes to moments of emotional vulnerability. Rejection in this context is not simply a no or a dismissal. It carries with it a deeper sense of being misunderstood, unwanted, or unworthy. For many, the fear of rejection is a powerful deterrent to sharing their inner world. This fear is rooted in the instinctual human need for acceptance and belonging. Rejection, whether real or perceived, can trigger a profound emotional response as it challenges one's sense of self-worth and their place in the social fabric. When a person opens up, whether it's about their insecurities, their dreams, or their personal struggles, they are putting something deeply personal on the line. The act of vulnerability is an invitation for the other person to step into their world, to see them as they truly are. However, not everyone responds in the way we hope. If the other person rejects or dismisses what has been shared, the impact can be devastating. The fear of this kind of rejection is often what holds people back from sharing their truest selves, even in relationships that seem safe and trustworthy. For men, in particular, the fear of rejection can be magnified by cultural expectations. They may have been taught from a young age to be self-sufficient, strong, and emotionally reserved. To show vulnerability or emotional openness may feel like a breach of the social contract, and the fear of being judged or rejected becomes more acute. There's an underlying belief that if they share their weaknesses, they will be seen as less competent or less valuable. This fear is not just about rejection from a romantic partner, but from society at large, which may view vulnerability as a flaw rather than a strength. This risk is not limited to emotional expression alone. It extends to other areas of life where we show up authentically. Whether it's sharing our creative work, pursuing a new career path, or expressing a controversial opinion, there is always the possibility that others will reject us. And that possibility can be terrifying. The rejection of a part of ourselves, whether it's our emotions, our ideas, or our desires, can feel like a personal judgment on who we are at our core. The risk of rejection is not necessarily something to avoid. In fact, it can be an essential part of growth and authentic connection. Taking the risk to be vulnerable, to share parts of yourself that are often hidden, is an act of courage. Even when faced with rejection, it offers a chance to learn, to grow stronger, and to find those who will truly appreciate you for who you are. The truth is, the more you embrace vulnerability and the risk of rejection, the more you open yourself to meaningful connections and experiences. It teaches you that your value is not determined by the acceptance of others, but by your own understanding and acceptance of yourself. The risk of rejection also invites a deeper understanding of relationships. Not all rejections are personal. They might reflect the other person's limitations, insecurities, or fears, rather than a reflection of your worth. In this way, rejection becomes less about you and more about the dynamics between you and the other person. It is through rejection, especially when handled with resilience and self-compassion, that we learn who is truly aligned with us and who might not be able to appreciate our full selves. The risk of rejection, while painful, is a necessary part of the human experience. It opens the door to authentic connection, growth, and the discovery of who truly sees and values us for all that we are. It reminds us that vulnerability, though risky, is an essential part of building meaningful relationships. Without it, we remain guarded, isolated, and disconnected from the richness of human interaction. By embracing the possibility of rejection, We also embrace the possibility of deeper, more genuine connections that enrich our lives. Symbols of value are the gestures, actions, and expressions that communicate how much someone is truly cherished and respected. These symbols, whether big or small, are how we convey to others that they matter to us, how they hold a special place in our lives. In a world that often values superficial achievements or external appearances, the true symbols of value are those that reflect our emotional, spiritual, and psychological investment in someone. The most meaningful symbols of value are often not material possessions or grandiose acts, rather, they come from the deeper, intangible aspects of a relationship. A simple act of kindness, a listening ear during a difficult moment, or the willingness to show vulnerability can be powerful symbols of how much someone is valued. These are the moments that reveal not just an appreciation for someone's company, but a recognition of their worth as a whole person, flaws and all. For instance, when someone takes the time to listen deeply and attentively to what you are saying without rushing to offer advice or dismiss your feelings, it's a clear symbol of respect and value. It shows that they are not just hearing your words, but connecting with your experience on a deeper level. This type of attentiveness and empathy communicates that the person values you not just for what you can do for them, but for who you are. In this way, the act of listening becomes a symbol of emotional investment and a demonstration of care. Sharing your innermost fears, dreams, or experiences with another person is a powerful symbol of value. When someone is willing to open up about their most vulnerable aspects, they are, in essence, offering a piece of themselves that is sacred. It's a gesture that says, I trust you with this part of me because you are important enough to see me for who I truly am. When someone responds to this kind of openness with empathy and non-judgment, it further reinforces the sense that they recognize and honor your value as an individual. In relationships, these moments of vulnerability, followed by understanding and acceptance, create a bond that is not easily broken. Another symbol of value is time. In a world filled with distractions and constant busyness, the act of dedicating time to someone is one of the clearest ways to show how much they are valued. Time is a limited resource, and choosing to spend it with someone, especially when it means making sacrifices in other areas of life, conveys a deep message of appreciation. Whether it's a phone call, a shared meal, or simply being present during a tough moment, giving someone your time communicates that they are worth the investment of your energy and attention. It is a reflection of how important they are in your life. For many people, symbols of value can also be found in the support they receive during times of difficulty. The willingness to stand by someone when they are facing adversity, whether emotional, financial, or relational, is a powerful indicator that they are seen as valuable. This support doesn't have to be grand or heroic sometimes, it's just showing up, providing comfort, or offering a helping hand. These actions reinforce the idea that the person's worth is not contingent on their circumstances, but is inherent in who they are. In romantic relationships, symbols of value often manifest in ways that are deeply personal. Small, thoughtful gestures like remembering an important date, offering words of encouragement, or simply checking in on how the other person is feeling demonstrate attentiveness and emotional investment. These gestures are often far more significant than lavish gifts because they reflect an ongoing, sincere desire to nurture and care for the other person. The act of making someone feel valued is about recognizing their needs, desires, and emotions and making an effort to respond to them in ways that resonate on a personal level. In friendships, symbols of value might show up in the form of loyalty and trust. A true friend is someone who stands by you when life gets tough, someone who listens without judgment, and someone who celebrates your successes as if they were their own. These acts of support and connection serve as symbols of the deep bond between individuals and communicate that, despite flaws and imperfections, both people are valuable to each other. It's not the frequency of the interactions, but the quality and consistency of the care that speaks volumes about the value one person places on another. Symbols of value are how we communicate the depth of our feelings for someone. They are expressions of recognition, appreciation, and respect that transcend words. When someone shares their innermost self with you, makes sacrifices for you, listens with empathy, or offers unconditional support, They are conveying a message far more meaningful than any material gift could. These acts are a reflection of how deeply they care about you and how much you matter to them. In relationships, it's often these subtle, everyday symbols that hold the greatest power, creating bonds that are not only enduring but also enriching. The role of listening is fundamental to the quality of human relationships. It is one of the most powerful tools we have for deepening connections and building trust. Listening is not merely the act of hearing words, it is an active, intentional process that involves understanding, interpreting, and responding to what another person is expressing. In its most effective form, listening requires patience, empathy, and an open mind. It is through listening that we make others feel seen, heard, and validated, which is essential for emotional intimacy and mutual respect in any relationship. Listening goes far beyond the physical act of perceiving sound. It is about engaging with the speaker on a deeper level. When you truly listen, you are not simply waiting for your turn to speak or thinking about how to respond. Instead, you are focused entirely on the other person, absorbing their words and the emotions behind them. This level of engagement signals to the other person that they matter and that their feelings and experiences are worthy of attention. It creates a space where they can express themselves without fear of being judged or interrupted, fostering an environment of safety and trust. For many people, being listened to is one of the most profound experiences of validation they can have. In a world filled with distractions where we are constantly bombarded by information and demands, genuine, undivided attention is increasingly rare. When someone takes the time to listen, it communicates that they are prioritizing you and valuing your experience. It's a form of respect that signals your thoughts and feelings are important to me. This act of listening can be incredibly comforting, especially for those who feel overlooked or unheard in other areas of their life. Listening is particularly vital when someone is sharing their vulnerabilities. In these moments, the speaker is often exposing parts of themselves that are raw and sensitive. They may be expressing pain, fear, or confusion, and they need to know that they will not be dismissed or invalidated. Active listening becomes a powerful tool in these situations because it allows the person to feel that their emotions are acknowledged and understood. By responding with empathy and care, you demonstrate that their feelings are real and worthy of attention. This fosters a sense of connection and support that can be healing for both parties. Beyond the emotional aspect, listening also plays a crucial role in communication and problem solving. It helps us better understand the perspectives and needs of others, allowing us to respond more thoughtfully and appropriately. In relationships, misunderstandings often arise not from a lack of talking, but from a lack of listening. When people don't feel heard, they may resort to frustration, defensiveness, or withdrawing, which can lead to communication breakdowns. By practicing effective listening, you reduce the likelihood of misinterpretation and increase the chances of resolving conflicts in a healthy and constructive way. Listening is also a form of emotional intelligence. It requires the ability to pick up on nonverbal cues such as body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions that provide additional layers of meaning to the words being spoken. Often, what is said aloud is just part of the story. The emotions and intentions behind those words can be just as, if not more, important. A good listener is attuned to these subtleties, recognizing when something is left unsaid or when the speaker is struggling with emotions that they may not be able to articulate fully. This level of sensitivity can create a deeper understanding and empathy for the other person's experience, strengthening the emotional bond between them. In romantic relationships, friendships, and even professional environments, listening is an essential foundation for building mutual respect. It demonstrates that you value the other person's perspective, that you are invested in their feelings, and that you are committed to understanding them. It also provides an opportunity for learning and growth. Listening opens the door to new ideas, diverse viewpoints, and fresh insights that can expand your own thinking and challenge your assumptions. In this sense, listening is not just about absorbing information, it is about enriching your own life by truly engaging with others. The act of listening has a ripple effect. When someone feels truly heard, they are more likely to listen in turn. It fosters a culture of mutual respect and reciprocal understanding where both parties feel empowered to share openly and honestly. This dynamic creates an environment where deep, meaningful conversations can take place, where individuals can exchange their truths and feel safe in doing so. It's in these moments of genuine communication that relationships can evolve and grow, creating stronger, more resilient bonds over time. Listening is not a passive act, it is an active and transformative process that shapes the quality of our connections with others. It has the power to heal, to connect, and to build understanding in ways that words alone cannot. Whether we are listening to a loved one share their fears, a friend discuss their aspirations, or a colleague express a concern, the simple act of truly listening speaks volumes about our care and commitment to the other person. It is a gift that we give not only to others but to ourselves, creating deeper, more meaningful relationships and enriching our understanding of the world around us. Emotional strength is the ability to navigate life's challenges with resilience and composure, even when faced with adversity. It is not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding and managing them in a healthy way. Emotional strength allows individuals to remain calm and focused in the midst of stress, loss, or conflict. It involves maintaining a sense of self, staying grounded, and using emotional experiences as a source of growth and learning rather than a setback. This strength enables people to bounce back from hardships, face uncertainty with confidence, and maintain hope in difficult circumstances. It also includes the capacity to remain empathetic and supportive to others while dealing with one's own struggles, recognizing that emotional fortitude is not about being invulnerable, but about finding balance and inner peace despite life's fluctuations. Developing emotional strength requires practice, self-awareness, and often the courage to ask for support when needed. Reciprocity in relationships refers to the mutual exchange of support, effort, and care between individuals. It is the principle that relationships are built on give and take, where both parties contribute to each other's well-being and growth. This can take many forms, such as emotional support, acts of kindness, or simply being present during difficult times. Reciprocity fosters a sense of balance and fairness, ensuring that no one person feels drained or taken for granted. In healthy relationships, both individuals are invested in each other's happiness and success, and the willingness to give and receive freely strengthens the bond. When reciprocity is present, it creates trust, reinforces emotional connections, and promotes long-term satisfaction for both parties. Without it, relationships can become imbalanced, leading to resentment or feelings of neglect. Building resilience together involves supporting one another through challenges and growing stronger as a unit in the face of adversity. It's about being there for each other, offering emotional, mental, and practical support, and collaborating to overcome obstacles. This process requires open communication, empathy, and mutual trust, as each person's strength contributes to the collective strength of the relationship. By facing difficulties together, individuals learn to adapt, problem solve, and become more resourceful, while also reinforcing their emotional connection. Building resilience together strengthens the bond between people, fosters a sense of unity, and makes them more capable of handling future challenges with confidence and solidarity. It is an ongoing process of learning, growth, and shared commitment, where each person's contributions are valued and appreciated. The sacredness of trust lies in its foundation as a core element of any meaningful relationship. Trust is the assurance that one can rely on another's integrity, honesty, and care without fear of betrayal or manipulation. It is a delicate bond, one that requires time, consistency, and mutual respect to build and maintain. Once broken, trust can be incredibly difficult to repair, as it forms the basis for vulnerability and openness between individuals. Trust is sacred because it allows people to feel safe enough to share their true selves, knowing they will be accepted and supported. It is through trust that deep emotional connections are formed, and through its loss, relationships can face significant challenges. Therefore, treating trust with reverence and nurturing it with care is essential for long-lasting and fulfilling relationships.